Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Doing Justice Brings Joy Out of Necessity. Because even now, right now, we are reminded how fragile Black dignity becomes when the world grows comfortable with Black pain. We see it in the indifference of institutions that should know better. We see it here We see it in the BAFTAs, where Black brilliance was sidelined, Black pain was dismissed. I'm going to quote our school board superintendent, who said that intent does not diminish impact. We saw it here at home in Durham, where the treatment of our Black elected and appointed officials revealed how quickly Black leadership is scrutinized, undermined, or disrespected the moment it dares to stand firm. We have seen it in our school board. We have seen it in our primary campaigns. We have seen it as our city struggles with a rash of violence against our children. These are not isolated moments. The disrespect and dismissal is real. They're reminders that progress without vigilance becomes permission for the same old harm to return to us wearing new clothes. Black History Month is not a museum exhibit. It is a mirror. It forces this nation and our own communities to confront the gap between who we say we are and how we actually treat Black people. And it calls us to remember that our story is not defined by the disrespect we endure, but by the courage we carry. This year, that call feels even deeper because, in a rare alignment, Lent and Ramadan began on the same day. This 40-day cycle in two global religious traditions of reflection, discipline, and spiritual honesty started at the same time, inviting us into a shared season of humility and humanity. It is as if the universe itself is saying for us to slow down, look inside ourselves, and remember that every one of us is made of sacred worth. That our liberation is bound up in one another. That justice is not a competition, it is a covenant. So, as we honor Black history, we also honor this moment to reset our spirits, to acknowledge the wounds we carry, the disrespect we still face, and the resilience that refuses to die. And then I want us to do something different this time. I want us to choose to build something better. As we reflect on the past, acknowledge the bitter present that we're in. Let's commit to building a better future. And let's not put new wine in old flasks. Let's blow the thing up and build something better. Because our work is not just to remember the past. Our work is to shape the future. A future where liberty and justice for all is not a slogan, but a lived reality. A future where our children inherit not just the stories of our struggles, but the fruit of our fight for freedom. And so I'm encouraging us to keep going, to keep building. We keep insisting that this nation live up to its promise. Because Black's history is still unfolding, and we are the ones writing the next chapter. And as we move through this season of reflection and accountability, we also need to step forward and toward the moment that shapes our collective future. North Carolina's primary election is on March 3rd. Early voting is open right now. This is when voters across the state choose who will carry their state's banner into November. Every seat in the legislature, every congressional district, and the all-important U.S. Senate race. These primaries are being decided. They're going to decide the direction the parties are going to go in, the tone of the debates, and the kind of leadership we'll be weighing in the fall. But let me be clear about something that too many people don't get and misunderstand. There's a lot of talk about the school board and school board races. This is not a primary. This is the election. That means that people who shape our children's classrooms, the budgets, the wages that our faculty and staff earn, they will all be chosen. And how many buses and bus drivers we have, they will all be chosen Tuesday. Not in November. So as we prepare to vote in the primary, let's hold this at the primary matters, and school board elections are happening on Tuesday. One determines political direction, that's the primary, and the other determines the future of our public schools and our children. It's important that we remember our shared humanity as we step into the voting booth. Let's choose leaders who honor the dignity of every child, every family in our community, and every community in our state. Because our work, whether it's in the streets, in the sanctuaries, or at the ballot box, is always about building a North Carolina where liberty and justice for all is not just a promise, but a practice. I have with me in the studio today my son Thomas, who's going to give us an update on how we're doing with early vote and what we need to get done right now in as we close out and get prepared to vote on Tuesday. Thomas, what's going on? What we got going on? How we doing?
People have started to come out. I'd say that right now, total turnout is uh almost 7%. And so I will and so in numbers that is over half a million people voted.
Is that on pace or behind where we were this time in 2022?
We're tracking ahead of that. So
Well, that's good. How we doing in terms of Black voter turnout?
well, I would say overall black voter turnout is ahead of white voter turnout. I think if you divide this by party, I think that Black Democratic turnout is comparable to total uh, turnout, and so I will see if, and so I think that for the other groups, I don't think it's as much, and so I think I will see if I can get that for you, where if I can find that.
Okay, great. I'd like to know how Black independents are. I guess I'd like to see how they're turning out, and but it's good to know that we've got an overall turnout raise. I'm interested to see also if you can pull up time for me what's going on in the fourth congressional race. How's the turnout? Is this it's got a lot. It's the two candidates, Congresswoman Valerie Foushee, full disclosure, my cousin, is in a heated battle against County Commissioner Nita Alam. The the advertising is quite extensive, and so I'm wondering, is that reflective of turnout in the district?
Okay, I will get the congressional districts for you. I will show you that.
All right, great. In the meantime, while you're getting that data together, I am going to share with you all that I received a letter from the state, well, it says Durham County Board of Elections, but it's from the State Board of Elections. I received this letter on Tuesday. On Tuesday, an election is next week. Stella Jones Adams. Assistance requested to update your voter registration information. When a person registers to vote, the Federal Help America Vote Act and state law require them to provide their driver's license number, or if they lack one, the last 4 digits of their Social Security number, or if they lack both, an indication that they do not have these numbers. When you included your DL or Social Security number on your voter registration form, that number went through a validation process where the county board attempted to confirm that the number provided, along with your first and last name and date of birth, matched a record in the NCDMV or Social Security Administration databases. Your number did not result in a match, and we are requesting your assistance in resolving the discrepancy. Remember, I received this Tuesday. This mismatch can be caused by differences in how a name is spelled in each record, such as adding or omitting hyphens, apostrophes, or spaces, or the use of a prior legal name, such as a maiden name, in one of the records. Your name at the top of this letter shows how it is spelled in our records. The mismatch may also be caused by a date of birth or driver's license or Social Security number listing a number in the wrong field or transposing numbers in the record. Helping us resolve the mismatch and updating your record will help us more easily find your record in the future. If there is an update to your information, such as a name or address change, there are 3 ways to provide information to help us update your record. 1, mail. Fill out the form below and mail it to the State Board of Elections in the enclosed pre-addressed return envelope. Online, if you have an NC driver's license, you can submit an updated voter registration form through the NCDMV secured website. Follow the QR code. There is no fee. Click yes when asked to update. Or in person, visit the office at the address at the top of this letter and provide this form in person. The state or county elections offices will not request your personal information over the phone. Do not, if you receive a letter like this, update online, because if you do, that's a new registration. I found that out. I am available to vote. So if you get this letter, go vote. After you vote, and you will be able to vote. After you vote, then follow the instructions. But make sure that you have the ability that you're not. I have to tell you, I checked my voting record, and I've been registered to vote since 1979. Since 1979. Now, I checked with the young people I work with at Blueprint NC who are involved in election protection and election electoral voting registration and protection. They told me that the reason I received this letter is because, in fact, I have lived in the same house for over 30 years. And I've been registered to vote since 1979. And therefore, my registration is pre Help America Vote Act, pre HAVA. And so I do not meet the HAVA requirements. And so that's why I received this notice. I'm not so much upset about receiving the notice as to the fact that I received this notice 1 week before the primary. And who is impacted by this? Primarily voters over the age of 65 who have been registered to vote prior to 2002. Married women who may not, and divorced women, and we talk about this almost every election, because in North Carolina you have to pay to change your name back, and that's really a poll tax now, because changing your name costs over $100. And if the SAVE Act passes, your name as it appears on your birth certificate is what you're going to be required to use to vote. That doesn't make any kind of common sense. So it's to keep women from voting. I wanted to share that with you. It happened to me, so I know it's happened to you. Or some of you, at least some of my besties who are out here in these streets with me and been voting for since we turned 18. Thomas,
Yeah,
you got that data ready to show?
I'm doing something for you to see.
All right. William, are you with us?
Hello?
Hey, William.
Hello?
I wanted to, while Tommy's pulling up the data, all right, Tommy, run through this data with us and share what we're seeing.
Okay, so you asked for congressional districts and their turnouts, and so here they are. Numbers from 1 to 14 and on this column are the number of people who have come out to vote, and on the left and on the right are the total registered voters. The percentage I put, on both sides, and so you can see that of the congressional districts, the fourth here has just over 49,000 people. So that is the second highest total number, and also the second highest percentage at 8.64% of people as of yesterday.
And who's in the 11th? That's up in Asheville, right?
I don't recall offhand what the districts look like. I mean, I can pull it up if you really want to see.
No, so. I'll do that.
Okay.
And I see there's a lot of turnout in Congressional District 1. That was a pretty...
Yes, I think, yes, District 1, if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the districts that was recently redrawn. So, yes, and so I think that one has a lively Republican primary and will have a lively general election as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Is Don Davis... So yeah, the 11th is Asheville. So they always are a lot of fun. I would say in our deep purple state, they're the deep purple district. They swing back and forth on a pretty regular basis between Democratic and Republican representation. So I guess the math is mathing in terms of how volatile the turnout is in these districts. Is there a way we can see kind of the racial breakdown of those?
Well, by congressional district, of course, would be more difficult because I think I organized it by county somewhere. And so,
Okay.
let's see if I can. Okay, this is, I think, your basic statewide information here, and the percentages on the right half. I think they're both duplicated because I was testing how I wanted to do that. And so I think the percentages on the left side are the percentages of the total number of people who have voted. And so that is not the, on the right, it's the turnout percentage, the percentage for each group of the registered population of that group.
All right, Black voters. Is that 8.19 for Black voters?
8.16. But I think
that's
and so
good.
yes, here is the same but by county also. So make sure you can see the county label. Yeah. Okay. So if you can see, Cumberland County is currently on the labeled county, so you can take a look at turnout there if you like. And if there are any other counties you want to see.
Oh, let's do Durham. We've got a lot of really hotly contested races going on locally. We've got school board races. Remember, school board elections are Tuesday. It's not a primary. You are electing your school board on Tuesday. We also have contested primaries for sheriff, for district attorney. I think almost all of the district court judge seats are also up. We've got that very contentious Democratic primary for Congress. There's a lot going on, so I'd like to make sure that Durham voters are voting. So I see we've got 9.6% of okay, Black voters are overperforming, but we still need more. We need more.
Anywhere else?
We looked at Cumberland. We looked at let's look at Buncombe. Black folks in Buncombe County need you to turn out. And then finally, let's look at Mecklenburg.
Yes, I think you can see turnout in Mecklenburg is, less than, in the other counties.
It is much less, but I have to say, black people in Mecklenburg, you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing, even though white registration is significantly more than black registration in terms of turnout for this primary. Um, y'all punching above weight. You're punching above weight. Very good, Mecklenburg, but do better. That's very good compared to the entirety of the city. The county overall is 4.27, but it's 5.95 for the black turnout. So that's really excellent. Really pleased with that. William, are there any trends you want to see?
Not this time, no.
So,
Okay.
folks, anything you want to highlight for us, Thomas?
I think I will look at this is by the part of the voter, and so I think I want to take a look at
Oh,
that. And so
okay.
I think this is
Yeah,
Cherokee
because that's
County.
significant too.
So I'll start with the counties you've done before, and then see if you. Well, no, I'll start with all of them so that you can see, statewide. I think as is been the custom, I think there's more early voter turnout from Democrats than from Republicans or unaffiliated voters. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you have um whether independents are picking up the Republican or Democratic ballots?
uh, I do have like that somewhere, though. Yeah, I'll try to find that after I show at least the counties that we've seen before to see how they
Mm-hmm.
compare. I think you see. Yeah, this is Buncombe. So
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting to me to see that that large Democratic turnout um, in Buncombe County compared to the overall turnout in of Republicans and independents. Okay, let me see Cumberland.
yeah, I think there the trend is even more pronounced. Although I don't know
Uh,
what primaries are available, in any of these counties because I mean
right,
there could be
right.
primaries for, you know, some or all of the important races. I think that the big statewide Senate primary, I don't know if there will be much driving the primary turnout, or if that will be more of a general election thing. But
well, no, Mark Watley's got some strong competition on the Republican side, so there that I think, yeah, he's got some competition there, so that'd be interesting. Um, let's look at Durham. Yeah.
yeah, I think Republican turnout, of course, in Durham is very low because there are not too many
No,
Republican county local primaries.
yeah,
Because
and there's just not a lot of registration. Most of it's independent in Durham. Otherwise, and let's go. Let's see, we did Durham, Cumberland, Bunk,
yeah, we did
Mecklenburg.
Mecklenburg. Well,
Mm-hmm.
here that is.
And that's quite a bit.
I think the percentages overall are lower in Mecklenburg for some reason, but
Mark, is there any data you want to see?
Hold on a second. What's Wake County looking like and everything like that? I know Durham has got very limited races and everything like that. I think it's primarily the school board, but what's going on in Wake County? I know that Steve Rao, who's on our show and is a person here, is running for, I think, a statewide office and everything like that. But oh no, I think he's running for county commissioner. Now that I think about it, but and I think last time I checked, he was like in either third place or something like that. But what's going on in the Wake County race in terms of population and everything like that? Because he represents the Indian community and is a Indian American.
Oh, pull the race data back up for Wake County.
okay, you want Wake County now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't. So it doesn't look like a large number of Asian Americans have turned out yet.
Yeah. Because he was on the Morrisville City Council, and like I said, I know that he was definitely served as mayor pro tem for them and had been an at-large council member for a number of years, but now he's running for Wake County commissioner and everything like that. So I'm not sure exactly who he's running against, but maybe y'all can see that. But yeah, I know he was hoping to get because he's seen as a liberal to moderate. So I know he was hoping to get a lot of Asian support, but also get support from some of the African American and other communities, including the Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm. Well, Asian turnout is down,
right.
But he is a low. They're underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to knock on some of his neighbors' doors,
right,
in Western Wake and get them to the polls.
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's 7 candidates seeking the Democratic nomination for 2 at-large seats. So to expand the 7-person Wake County Board of Commissioners to 9. So if he's in third place, he'd be on the outside looking in and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to get folks out and moving if he's going to get there and everything. I know he was touting his innovation and equity and progress as things that he had been advocating for, and definitely his being the son of immigrants, and definitely some of that stuff was what he was touting. Just out of curiosity, Thomas, because my other hometown is Warrenton. That's where I was raised at and everything. So what's going on? What races are going on in Warrenton? I don't necessarily keep track of the old hometown, but what races are going on and what's the turnout looking like in Warren County and everything like that.
Turnout I can show you. I haven't, labeled which contests are currently happening. So
Just tell me what the turnout is, and I can look to see what they got on
okay,
there.
well here you have it.
Oh,
This is
they got a great turnout. Black voters have turned out 13.7%, and
Oh, wow.
the overall turnout is 9%. So there's something that's causing black voters in Warren County to get up out their seats and vote.
Must be something. I'm going to see what could be the sheriff, but let's see what Warren County voters are looking at and everything like that to see what their races are. Warren County
And
2000.
we know that Tommy showed us earlier the congressional district races.
Right.
And the first congressional district, the fourth congressional district, and the 11th congressional district have the largest interest and have the largest turnout of the congressional races.
It looks like they have county election candidates and school board election candidates. So it looks like they've got Warren County Board of Districts. This is for March 3rd. It looks like they've got the Douglas Gross going against R. Lorenzo Wilkins. Both of them are Democrats. That's in District 2. And in District 3, it looks like Victor Hunt against Tyrone Sims Sr. and everything. And then it looks like they've got some school board. So I do know that school board issues have been a big issue in a lot of places and everything like that. So I imagine that's what getting people out to vote, because I was just looking at some statistics here. This is interesting. Like you said, it's 50.2% of the folks in Warren County are voting, whereas it's 21.4% North Carolina. But I was looking, and I don't know, do you ever study the high school rate? Because I mean, Warren County does have some people that went to college, but the high school graduation rate of those that are voting is 83.8%, whereas the average in North Carolina is 88.5%, and the college graduation rate of those that are voting is 15.3% and 32% on the statewide level and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it does look like the folks that are got that high school diploma do realize the importance of voting and everything like that. So that is a good thing to see, as well as some of these household incomes. Yeah, I didn't realize the median household income in Warrenton is $37,476, and they got 20.9% people below the poverty line, which is comparable to the state, which is 56,642 and 14%. Well, that's a lot of people below the poverty line in the state.
Yeah. Remember that we have 100 counties, right? And only about 20 of them are prosperous.
That being, well, I can imagine some of them. I imagine Wake is prosperous. I imagine that Mecklenburg is prosperous. I imagine that probably Guilford might be prosperous, and maybe Forsyth, and that's 4 right there. And whatever county Asheville is in, I imagine that might be prosperous. But there's a lot of very poor counties and everything like that. So what other big prosperous county? Well, whatever county Wilmington is in, that's probably prosperous. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's the triangle, the triad, Mecklenburg and Buncombe and Wilmington. And believe it or not, Rocky Mount.
Yeah, Rocky Mount has got a lot of millionaires. As a matter of fact, I think they rake in some of the top millionaires in the country because of a lot of the things that started in Rocky Mount. I want to say one of the fast food chains started in Rocky Mount, and one of the other things has definitely.
They also have like a bank, a little bank. Has maybe 2 branches in Rocky Mount and doesn't have anywhere else, and it's like one of the richest banks in the world.
Oh wow, which bank is that?
I don't know. I can't remember right now, but it's like a tiny little bank, but all those billionaires put their money in that bank.
In that one bank. So those 2 with the 2 branches. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It is. Like, I didn't even know all that money was there, but it's on the Nash side. But really, Nash is also a tier 1 county.
Yeah, because in Rocky Mountain it's divided into two counties, Nash and Edgecombe. So depending on which
Mm-hmm.
side.
Edgecombe is one of the. It's like 99 or 100. It runs in that 98 to 100 on the poor scale, and Nash does a little bit better, but it's still considered a tier 1 county.
Wow, so that's still considered a tier one county and everything like that. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm looking up Rocky Mountain Bank. So is it Southern Bank you're talking about? Because I see
No, it's like a Pinnacle Bank. It's a. Oh, what is the name of that
Rocky
bank?
Mountain Banks. Because I just looked up Rocky Mountain Banks and Southern Bank came up first and everything. We got Southern Bank, we got PNC Bank, Providence Bank.
Providence.
Providence, that's in Providence Bank. That's actually not that far from Mom's house because she's not that far from Winston Avenue and everything like that. So yeah, I probably have seen that bank, but didn't realize what it was and everything because it's also not that far from First Carolina Bank either. But yeah, there's some. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's
That's where
Providence.
them billionaires park that money.
They parked that money at Providence, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So they parked it. Are you coming out? Speaking of things that dealing with Rocky Mountain, I think they're honoring Mom. They're honoring Eva Clayton. But are you coming out to the big Black Genius Fest event on tomorrow and everything like that? Because that'll be tomorrow evening where they'll take over 4 blocks of historic Parish Street and everything like that. So this is a major event that'll be taking place in downtown Durham tomorrow. And it'll be the first, I think it'll be the first annual, but this is the first Black Genius Fest.
I'm glad you brought that up so that we could highlight it for folks. I'll be there if the weather's willing and
Gotcha.
my bones aren't creaking. You know how to say the creek don't rise if my bones ain't creaking. I'll be there.
That's
I
interesting.
did,
Go ahead.
yeah, I did want to discuss before we got off the air today. Um, I wanted to get all of y'all's opinion. That includes you too, William and Thomas, about the BAFTA awards and the how I don't have issues with the person who has Tourette's.
Right.
My issue is with the BAFTA. They had a 2-hour delay. A 2-hour delay before broadcast. And they could beep out Free Palestine, but they couldn't beep out the N-word.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me because you can definitely beep out stuff. There's always controls of those things. And if they had a 2-hour delay or they were recording them before they went live and everything like that. I mean, if it's a live
And don't
production,
they have 5-second delays on broadcasts?
there are usually 5-second delays on many of these broadcasts and everything. There's usually a switch that can at least be able to get some words that are offensive or whatever out and all in that space. So yeah, there's that 5-second delay. And if they were pre-recorded and even if it was 2 hours, then they can definitely edit that out. So yeah, because like I said, I've known people with Tourette's. Actually, there's a person on this network has Tourette's, so he's talked about that experience because he grew up with it and everything like that. But Brian Showman, who I think now lives in Florida but was in California and does the shout out Saturdays and the What's Up Wednesdays on LinkedIn and is a very much of a LinkedIn influencer. He had Tourette's, and I think he was diagnosed when he was a youngster, so he's very much a Tourette's advocate and everything like that. And yeah, they oftentimes will blurt things out or have twitches and a number of other things that are part of that syndrome that they can't always control. And that's
it's uncontrollable.
yeah.
I don't have issues with him. I have issues with BAFTA. I have more than just one issue. It's not just that they didn't clean it up, but they did not apologize or even express concern about the impact that it had on the presenters, right?
Right,
They
exactly.
did not, and they were not, they didn't even talk to them about it afterwards. They did not share with them in a they did not share with the presenters separately from some general notice that about there might be these kinds of disturbances. Um, they handled it wrong on every hand. And then they wanted to put the blame on the person with Tourette's instead of putting the blame on the institution for not doing the proper edits, for not having the proper courtesy, and not showing proper respect, for the African American and British, Black Britons who
Right.
were exposed to it.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have done better on that. I don't know what Thomas and your other son think about that, but I definitely agree with them that they should have done a much better job in that sense and everything like that. So, and there's a ways that they can control it and all along those lines, but they were not doing that in the least bit.
So
Oh,
what recently what recently came out today was that Warner Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
who produced Sinners after it happened,
Right.
claimed that they specifically asked BAFTA and the BBC to edit that out,
Mm-hmm.
and that recommendation was not taken.
Right.
mm,
Now, I am going a different way. I do have an issue with the person themselves because, yes, it was Tourette's and it was uncontrollable, but afterwards, there is no indication that he himself went to Delroy Lindo or Michael B. Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
explained the situation, right, and tried to smooth it over, explain what happened, and apologize, right? His initial statement was not an apology. His initial statement was just a thank you to the Academy statement about representation and about how happy he is to win the award. He originally did not address it. So, again, having Tourette's, it happened. It was an accident. That's fine. But, Mom, as you've often said, no one goes to jail for the crime. They go to jail for the cover up.
cover up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's not damned because of the mistake. It's the fact he didn't speak to them and apologize about it. And there's no indication he ever communicated with them while they were there in that moment or in the 2 hours afterward. Because that has nothing to do with Tourette's. That has to do with integrity and being a man.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. That integrity thing is very important and everything. And I've actually had to, and sometimes you also have to have those conversations up front with the people and everything like
Mhm.
that. Because I have also dealt with folks that are on the spectrum, different levels of the spectrum in my job, and something along those lines. And sometimes people on the spectrum, and not even Tourette's, which isn't necessarily on the spectrum, but sometimes they have questions and issues with boundaries and everything like that. So there's sometimes that they were, even in some cases, women who were feeling that they were getting too much in their space, and it might not have been that they were trying to date them or get with them in that sense and everything, but they were not comfortable with the notion of personal space, and personal space is very important as well and everything like that. So sometimes you gotta
Yeah.
let people know that you understand what they're going through, whether it's Tourette's, or which can be the blurting out, or whether it's personal space, and just kind of like let them know what the boundaries are, and hopefully they will respect those boundaries even if they have those issues.
And the other thing about the BAFTAs themselves, and like almost the bigger impact, is not only did they not do anything on behalf of Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, they didn't defend them, did not speak to them or address them or apologize to them,
Right.
but by leaving it in, they also broadcast that image to Black households across the world.
Right.
Across the world. Yes.
And so Black families and young Black children had to see that and had to experience that on television in the year of our Lord 2026.
Yeah.
And that I want to close out by talking about again how Black folks are expected to swallow that disrespect,
Right.
and the microaggressions, and
Finelli's,
let's bring it home to what happened at the school board.
yeah, the school board issue and everything. But before you get to that, not only the expecting to kind of like respect and accept that kind of notion and everything. But I don't know if you saw my Facebook post, and part of the reason I posted it was because it's one of the films that we're going to show at the Hayti Film Festival next week and everything along those lines. Well, yeah, about it'll be like the 5th or the 7th. So yeah, that should be next week and everything like that. But one of the films that we're going to show is actually about Black punk rockers and everything like that. And there's actually a punk rock group that I think is based out of Georgia that is the number one punk rock group in the country. So they're actually on Billboard. And a lot of times people don't realize that we have made inroads into a lot of music, like Lisa Palmer has done with country and music that they feel is of their kind of spectrum and everything. But even like with what we saw in the Winter Olympics, we saw a speed skater and we saw a black bobsledder, and we saw the hockey team have a sister that was on the winning team and everything like that. So there is a lot of things that we don't get respect for that we should get respect for, including a lot that we've talked about on this show, inventions that a lot of the citizens of the world use on a regular basis, whether it's the microwave or the GPS or the basic internet and everything like that have some strong African American background.
So what should I want to address like the microaggressions of not calling recognizing Black professionals with honorifics,
Right.
And how that's deep in culture and deep in our historical references. It means more maybe to folks our age than to the younger folks, in that we actually experienced or saw our parents experience being not called, having to say again.
Being called by their titles, even if they were doctors or dentists or lawyers and everything like that. But Stella, I think one of the issues with that, and I don't think that was the issue necessarily with the school board, is that unfortunately with the honorifics, there are also people that have those titles and were given those titles by themselves or given those titles by questionable organizations and all along those lines. So not everybody that is a doctor or has doctor on their name necessarily deserves the respect of that because of some of the misuse of that terminology as well. And I'm not saying that people that got honoraries, such my mom's got several honoraries and she's well earned those honoraries and everything like that. But there are others that I'm not sure about their use of that title and everything like that. And I think that has colored the view of some people rightfully or wrongfully.
I don't think that was any way, shape, or form part of the discussion and the disrespect that was shown to our school superintendent.
No, the school superintendent
that
definitely
was a very caring moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, the school superintendent definitely has the title and has had the title for a while. I mean, that would be like calling Dr. Howard Fuller not by his rightful title, and he's earned that title and has done a lot of work in the charter school movement and a lot of other movements as well. So that would be comparable to not using his correct title or even not using the correct title of Mark Anthony Neal and other folks that have plainly had the title and have plainly earned the title and rightfully so and everything like that. So I think that in this school board situation, they definitely needed to be respectful of what was going on and all in that space. So that I would agree with you on.
I think that both the superintendent and the representative of DAE have shown have shown and how you correct a mistake with grace, and how you they both used it as teachable moments,
Right.
For healing and correction.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that when we're discussing issues, that we focus on issues and not persons and personalities, but the our teachers and our staff need proper pay,
Oh yeah.
and we need a school administration that can balance a budget and can actually read a financial statement.
Mhm.
We need school board members who are dedicated to our children and to protecting our children, and to educating our children to be able to participate more fully in our society.
Hey, Stella, because one of the things I've heard people say in that regards, and I don't know what your thoughts are about this, and it kind of comes to our conversation yesterday about the uh, Congress race and the other races or last week and everything like that, is do you sometimes feel that, to your point, that some people are getting into races and getting into various office because of what it can do for their personal gain and not necessarily for the gain of who they are supposed to be the constituents of for, whether that is the school kids if they are on the school board, or whether that be the city if they are city council members, or whether that be a number of other races. Because I do sometimes feel that some of our political operatives are in it for an ego trip and not necessarily in it for the good of the greater cause.
You have to have a certain amount of ego to run for office.
Given that.
So, so, so there is not. I I believe that most people who go into public service, because it is thankless.
Right.
Okay, it is thankless. I think that most people who go into public service go into it for the right reason. I think it, though, it does become obvious
Mhm.
when people are not in it for the right reason,
Yes.
right? Because the decisions that they make are not reflective of public service,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
You are who you serve. If you are a public servant, then you are serving the general good,
Right.
right? If you are serving oligarchs, that will show itself. When the decisions you make benefit the few, not the many, then that's clear. When you're making decisions that say, we're going to give zero taxes to corporations, but corporations are people. And then you're going to give tax credits and tax breaks. I didn't even know this until I was venting about it.
Mhm.
But I was like, who's going to want a tax credit if you don't have to pay taxes,
Right.
right? And then what the what the local official told me is, oh, you get a refund.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do corporations not have to pay taxes, but they are extracting refunds. And this is becoming an issue. We'll spend some time on data centers and the impact it's having statewide in terms of water quality and access. But next week, and I've got, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
My guest next week
Okay.
is Sarah Pratt.
Okay.
She is the former Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. She is my mentor.
Okay.
She taught me all the techniques that I know.
Good.
and Professor Carol Cook. I'm sorry, Carol Brown,
Uh-huh.
who is from the University of Richmond. They have written a new treatise on housing discrimination
Hmm.
for LexisNexis.
Okay. Where's
And
Miss, where's Miss Pratt from?
she is from the Maryland area, but she's got family in Chapel Hill.
Because I
So,
was wondering if she was related to the well-known arts advocate who passed away many years ago, because Margaret Damati is stepping down from the Arts Council. But one of Margaret's mentors, speaking of mentors, was Ella Fountain Pratt. So I didn't know if she was related at all to Ella Fountain Pratt, who was a arts advocate in big time before she passed away many years ago and everything like that. So that's why when I heard the name Pratt, I was going like, I wonder if they're related.
she's got family, so and a report came out. I did mean to talk about it on Black families. The Pew Research did a study on Black families and our play cousins, and how the Black community recognizes more play cousins than fractive kin is what the academic term is, than other communities.
No doubt. Because I've talked about that even on my family and everything. Because I mean, some of the play cousins aren't necessarily related to you and everything like that. I mean, Kenny Walker and Jenny Walker are actually my uncles, my late Uncle Randy's nephews, which means that they're on his side of the family. But me and my brother treat them as if they were on our side of the family and if they were our first cousins, even though technically they are not related to us at all and everything like that. And also, there's many friends that you have a lot of friends that are also seen as your relatives. I consider you and your kids to be like sons and relatives of mine, and I think mom would say the same thing. But then you've got people, friends like Brett Chambers and Ray Pascal, are not related to me at all, but we consider ourselves like brothers in kin in some of the things that we do in the arts and everything like that, including what a captain I would consider to be a relative and everything like that. So yes, there's a lot more adaptation of that play brothers and everything. As a matter of fact, I mentioned Brian earlier, and that has Tourette syndrome, and he wrote a book last year that's one of those bestsellers, and I had a chapter, and that's actually what my chapter was about your kin folks that are like your spiritual kin versus
That's
those that are your birth relatives, because there's a lot of spirit relatives versus your birth relatives and everything like that. So that's actually what my chapter was about, was how there are some people that are related to you even if they're not related to you by blood.
Yep. And so and we have large extended families in the Black community. We support each other, and a majority of the other interesting thing is that the majority of African Americans, Black Americans, not African American, Black Americans, consider all Black people their relative, their sisters and brothers. And there is a large communal aspect that was also
Unfortunately, the other people sometimes like to play at our differences, because we do know that sometimes the Africans that are from Africa and the brothers and sisters from here and even some from the Caribbean are sometimes presented as if we are much more different than we are, even though we know that all of us came from the motherland. But they do try to play on those differences and to get us to, it's that divide and conquer kind of thing, to play on those differences, because sometimes even Africans don't always identify as much as they probably should with the African American community. And I think part of that is an intentional effort, much like the highway was an intentional effort to
yes.
to sow discord and to sow displeasure among the greater diaspora.
Yeah, so this Pew research, Black American sense of family extends beyond friends and relatives, and most Black people say being Black is important to our sense of self-worth. I think this is something that's important as we close out Black History Month,
Mhm.
that we, we have that, as we talked about with BAFTA, we have that shared moment where we all were impacted by the injustices that we were
And let's forget there.
exposed.
Let's not forget there is another group of the population. Actually, it's the majority group of the population that, like Black History Month, is getting shortchanged by only getting 1 month. I mean, shucks, probably need a whole year and everything like that to truly celebrate Women's History Month. But starting on Sunday, that will be what is being designated as well. So, as a brother that likes the women of the world and everything like that, both, and has some great women mentors. I mean, I consider you to be like a mentor type figure, as do I would say definitely Andrea Harris, and of course my mom and a number
Oh,
of others. My own Julie
absolutely.
was just here recently and everything like that. So there are a number of Eva Clayton, number of great women that need to be honored during Women's History Month and everything like that. But like I said, just like a month of February isn't enough to honor all the greatness that is taking place in the African American community. A month isn't enough, even if it's a slightly larger month in the month of March, to cover all the great gains that women have made, whether it was Mae Jemison, whether it was Hillary Clinton, whether it was a number of folks that have done great things like Shirley Chisholm and a number of other ones out there as well. I could go on naming names forever and everything like that, but definitely we need to honor
And
the.
and our shared experience. Did you were you active in that youth group at Soul City when you were in your early teens, like 11 and 12?
I know that the radio station had a youth program of its own, so I was definitely active in that. And I know that Jerry Ann King, who's another person that I have a great deal of respect for, both as a quilter and as a overall community activist and everything like that. There was some theater productions that we did, because I want to say we might have even gone to a prison and everything like that, if I remember correctly. If not, we definitely did some productions that were prison based and everything like that. And I know that, of course, there was youth that were involved in the fight with the people that were dumping the chemicals as they're in
Yes,
Warrenton and everything like that. And definitely youth
we
were.
were there. We
Mhm.
were there, Mark.
Yeah.
In
And then
our
my, no, definitely Durham was there. A lot of people were there and everything like that. So to answer your question, not that I recall being directly involved in, but I was also involved in the campus newspaper. And of course, we did have Let's Rap, which was a youth-oriented program. And also Jerry had one that was much younger kids, which was Tickle Me Pink and everything like that. So, or maybe it was Tickle Me Think. But I know my brother was the cover of an album that they produced, and his picture is still on his Facebook, jumping up as a youngster and everything like that. So yeah, I was definitely knew some people that were active in youth activism, but mine was more engaged with the radio station, to answer your question.
Well, folks, we're gonna call this a day.
Okay.
I want to remind everybody, I need you, if you are engaged in civil rights, fair housing, to join me next week
Mhm.
for our conversation with Sarah Pratt, my queen. We're going to talk on all the issues involving this HUD, what's happening at HUD, what happened with the OGC at HUD, what the Supreme Court is doing, and what some of these rulings are doing that effectuate, and how we can move forward and continue the struggle going forward. And I can't
Definitely.
wait to have her on next
Well,
week.
that sounds like that's going to be an amazing show, and I'm looking forward to hearing her viewpoints on housing and everything else in that regards. I do have to teach you about something because it was just on my mind and everything like that, and then I'll definitely let you wrap up with some more serious topics, because we've definitely been talking some serious topics on this particular conversation. But Stella, what do dreams mean and everything like that? Because I was reflecting on some weird ones that I had last night that included everything from the road to the Apollo and us doing a contest in another city. So maybe Captain's getting ready to do something in another city. But then there was also one about like chasing squirrels, which means which is an expression and everything like that. That people will say that if you're going on a tangent and your mind is going off that into something just totally different, that you're chasing squirrels and all along those lines. And the final dream that made absolutely no sense for somebody from Durham, North Carolina, is that I dreamt that there was a loose kangaroo. Why there would be a loose kangaroo in North Carolina is beyond me. So if you got any idea of dream interpretations, please let me know, because I have never heard anybody talk about kangaroos in dream interpretations, and it was a loose kangaroo in this area. So I have no idea. I've never been to Australia, which is where kangaroos are from. I've got maybe one or two friends from there that are online.
I'm gonna tell you to stop. Eating late at night. That spicy food late at night. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. But these are all dreams that are pointing towards moving forward, because that's what kangaroos do.
Yes.
This is all about moving forward. It's about creating opportunities. So that just sounds like all positive to me. But I would say lay off the late night spicy snacks.
I understand, and I did have a little bit of Chinese food. It wasn't overly spicy, but it had a little bit of spice to it, so that might have been it. Just need to lay off the spicy food.
Lay off the spicy foods late at night.
Understood. I will keep that in mind.
Well, folks, we have enjoyed you being with us today on Doing Justice Brings Joy. Remember, vote early, vote in the school board races. They are not primaries. So if you have a child in school, get up, get out, and go vote. The primaries, election day is Tuesday, March 3rd. Early vote ends tomorrow at what time, Thomas?
Let me pull it up.
It's probably like 1 or 2.
But last day for early vote is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of day left in today. So let's go and let's vote. Black people, I'm proud of you. You're showing up and showing out this primary season. I need you to keep doing that.
Hey, Stella, not only that,
3 p.m.
3 p.m. tomorrow.
You got plenty of time until 3 p.m. tomorrow. But not only do they have kids, even if you don't have kids, the school board is still very important, because I do believe in that notion. I know some people credit it toward certain white politicians, but it's been a saying that has been out there in our community for years and decades and everything like that. And it does take a village to raise a child and everything like that. So I do believe in that belief, even if you don't have any kids of your own, because I know how important the school board is, and I've had friends that have served on the school board, even though I don't have any kids of my own, and my nephews are about ready. The oldest one who will graduate high school this year, heading off to college, and his younger brother will be following behind him next year. So even though I may not have any direct kids of my own, I have kids that are either directly in my family line, or those that I consider to be like kids of my own, that are like the kids of the African American Dance Ensemble, the kids that I've seen grow up throughout the years and everything.
I play like children.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, my people. Thank you again for being with us on this week's edition of Doing Justice Brings Joy. And remember to join me next week when my queen, Sarah Pratt, will be in the house talking about housing discrimination.